Welcome to the Pull Bags, Back Issue Classics. Join us as we talk about comics from yesteryear, from DC, Marvel, and more. So open your ears to hear our discussion of the older continuities, as the Back Issue Classics are also what's in the Pull Bag.
Angel? Is that you?
Oh my god! Angel, you're cute.
Fred, don't.
Oh, but the little hands and the hair.
Hey, you're fired.
Hello and welcome to the Pull Bag. This is Back Issue Classics, episode 34 of Back Issue Classics. I am, of course, TFG1Mike. Joining me this time around is Florida-bound Jeremy Fein.
Hey, how are you, Mr. Good Sir?
You sound so happy.
Well, here's the thing. I have to stay in an extended stay for 2 weeks.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, what happened was that we got the house. Woman was, squatting. They finally got her out, but it's still become like this huge deal, so I have to stay like in this loft. And then, of course, we just got a thunderstorm, and the cable is satellite, so I don't have TV, but thankfully the internet works, because otherwise I'd go stark raving mad.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, Back Issue Classics, we're kind of bunching these up here, folks, because I'm preparing for my, I almost said October, it's not October yet, July month, Robin Hood month from Xenoscope Entertainment. So, these will both air July 1st, 2015. You heard us talk before about sex criminals, so now we're going to talk about something really super fun, the comic adaptation of the Angel Season 5 episode, Smile Time. Now, I know there have been a lot of different Angel comics over the years. I know right now Dark Horse has Season 10, I believe, which is art's being done by Will Conrad. I don't know who's writing on that one, but this one is from IDW when Angel was at IDW for a while, and I love the Smile Time episode from Season 5. It might be the best episode of the entire series of Angel as far as comedy goes. Essentially what happens is, folks, is these pseudo-Sesame Street-looking demons, or these demons that take over Sesame Street wannabe characters, basically are sucking the life force out of children so they can build this nest egg. Well, Angel, he goes in and goes over to Smile Time and ends up in the don't room and messes with the nest egg, and he gets turned into a puppet. This might be the best thing Joss Whedon has ever done.
Yeah, this is kind of like, I don't know if you remember the show Greg the Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of...
This is better than that, though.
Yeah, no Count Blanc.
Yeah, this is so much better than Greg the Bunny. That show didn't last very long. So, as I said, IDW had this episode of Angel adapted into a 3-issue comic series. And I was really surprised at how they did this. I liked it, I thought it was interesting, but I was still really, really surprised. The script is done up by Scott Tipton. The art is by David Messina. The color is by Gruvan Nero. And the covers are really what get me on this. I love the covers on this series. Go ahead.
Yeah, the covers on this one, we got him shrinking down to a puppet. We have the black and white where we see how Angel is turned into the puppet. But I like the opening, the front cover, how he's just like shrinking down. Yeah. And you get like that Bert from Sesame Street type of face. So it definitely looks a lot creepier. The black and white is also decent, but we don't see the shrinking as much as we do for the color one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's, they don't even put the shrinking in the black and white version. because it's a color fade thing that in the color version. But yeah, and the alternate cover is basically a photo image from the show of the actual puppet with the actors in the background. I love that. I love when they do photo covers. I really do. Because it just, if it's something you haven't seen in such a long time that, you're like, hey, that's right. So we start off with poor little Tommy watching Smile Time, and his mom's talking to her mom, and, we've got all this stuff, and we see, what's his name, Bobo or Popo or...
Yeah, it's a dog. We have kind of like a Snuffleupagus type of purplish character, and then we have the dog. This actually kind of reminds me of a Twilight Zone episode in the 80s. The bird's name, I think, is Hong Kong. But I do remember there was this Twilight Zone episode where it was actually the devil that was pretending to be a children's television host, and the kid was watching the show. And what happens is that every time the devil tells the kid to do something, the kid is like, he's interacting with the devil on this children's TV show, and it's like the mom is turning into a lizard, and there are earthquakes, but the parents are oblivious to all of this. Yeah.
So, basically, the head puppet here sucks all the energy out of Tommy, and, his mom is like, oh my god, and... I know, the Smile Time puppet characters are supposed to be, these really, like, Sesame Street look-alike kind of people and whatever else and all this and all that, but I really wish they would have made the head puppet here look a little bit more Joker-like, because let's face it, Tommy's, the after effects of having your energy sucked out of you here, you look like you've been hit with Joker toxin, for Christ's sake.
Well, I think it's also a legality issue. I'm even surprised.
I know that. I'm just saying that look at the kid's face. Look at that image. It's essentially the same thing. It's Joker toxin. It's a Joker smile.
It almost feels like a Joker caper.
Yeah. So we go to Wolfram and Hart. We see Knox and Fred going around and around, and he wants to date her, and she doesn't, she's not interested in him whatsoever. And he even says, maybe it's the Joker, and he does say that in the episode too as well. And, we have this really awkward moment between them, and he goes away, and Fred goes back to work, and Nina comes in because it's that time of the month for her to turn into a werewolf. Yay!
Well, it's got to be the time of the month for a woman, but yeah, this is like, I don't know if it's exaggeration or whatever, but again, the only wolf that I remember in the Buffyverse was Oz.
Well, what happened was, this was this is Angel Season 5, I think it was the first or the second episode. Angel had saved her, and she got bit by a werewolf, or bit by something, and she ended up turning into a werewolf, and it became it's essentially the Angel Season 5 relationship kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So we also have Harmony and Gunn, and apparently Gunn forgot to file the right paperwork with the courts. We go to Angel and Nina, where they are in the jail cell, about ready to get locked up. I find it interesting. Really, like, we already know that. I mean, we already know the story of this episode. And yes, this is a comic adaptation of a television episode, but really, what I found interesting about this is the art. Look at all the shading and colors that they've done to make this TV episode look like it was supposed to be in the comics.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that I think the color schemes are probably the best that I've seen. I mean, I've tried to watch an episode here or there of Angel, never could get into it. I watched a few episodes of Buffy, but at the end of the day, I really appreciate what they did with these color schemes and the inking and the shadowing in this book.
Yeah, I could not. Past Season 3, when the graduation happened at the end of Season 3 of Buffy, I could not get into Buffy. I think I stopped at Season 3, and maybe I watched 2 or 3 of the Faith episodes, But Angel, I love that show. I can watch that show episode 1 to episode whatever, how many episodes it had. You know, the last episode of the series. I love that show.
I have to go back and watch a few episodes of Angel. I think the last Buffy episode, I can't remember the season, is where the witch turned, all the characters that are dressed up for Halloween into what they were dressed up as. That's the last episode that I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know what TV network it's running on syndication, but I saw an episode the other morning. I saw the musical episode, and I'm like, oh, God. I know people. I know people are going to be, aiming their pitchforks and torches at me when I say this, but I'm sorry. The Buffy musical episode is by far the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
I knew we were going to do it on Walking Dead, so what does that tell you? And they said no, so don't worry.
So we get Angel and Wes talking about first dates and women and whatever else, and the only character that looks out of character in this entire series at this point, honestly, is Wesley. I mean, if you look at Angel here, he looks just like David Boreanaz from the show. But Wesley does not look like Alexis Denisof at all. He just doesn't. I don't know how they, I don't know how they screwed this up.
Likeness rights, the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, maybe. And I mean, Fred, the same thing with Fred. She looks like Amy Acker a little bit, but not too much. I don't know. It's a little weird. So, they've got a new case, and you've got Wes and Fred's trying to essentially send him, signals, and Wesley just completely misreads it, and we get back to Angel, and we meet Lorne in this one. So Lorne shows up, and he tells Angel it's a very popular kids show, Smile Time.
Yeah, Smile Time. Well, there were kid shows that were for kids and adults, or condults.
True.
So I look at the design right now with this demon, and with the green makeup and the red horns and the red eyes and the red lips and the purple suit. Yeah, I could see that this is almost Mr. J.
Yeah. The only thing they added here, and I don't think they should have, this is not in the episode. So after Lorne basically tells him, the show is called Smile Time, it goes to the parking garage. And you have a confrontation between Angel and Spike. Now, at this point in the series of Angel, in the television series, Spike is a good guy. They spent 3 or 4 episodes before this in season 5 getting Spike recorporealized from when he, died and saved the world at the end of Buffy. So the only thing is, though, I just don't think this whole scene fits, because this was not in the episode. This is comic license. This is creator license, where they have a little discussion about, Angel's little wolf girl. And if you're going to do an adaptation of an episode, make it fit the continuity. Like the scene later where they fight, that's in the episode. This isn't. And I just wish that this wasn't here. Because basically, from the point of where Lorne says, the name of the show, to where we get the KTCE television studio, that's how, it skips over this whole imaginary fight that Angel and Spike have. I just don't like this part of the book.
Yeah, it almost comes off like a deleted scene.
Yep.
Like a scene that didn't work well, so they'll put it in the comic. They did this all the time, though, with adapting TV shows and movies. Like, I remember Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, they put in this controversial scene when they were in hell, and it was in the novelization. They never put it in the movie, but that's just the way it went. There's nothing to do with anything.
I know. And it completely took me out of what I knew to be the part of the episode, of the actual TV episode. So we get Angel going into the don't room, and you'd think if there's something, even though he is never one for advice, you'd think if something says don't, you don't do it. and we see this giant smile thing, basically explosion, and the first issue here ends with we see the reveal of Angel as a puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how did you feel about issue 1 here overall?
For me, it's a great setup. Again, I have to be honest. I am a huge fan of the Whedonverse. Always have, always will be. I just was never a huge fan of Angel for some reason. Not even Buffy. He just didn't do anything for me. But I always was fascinated with this puppet, and I was always curious where it came from. And I was like, light bulb is going on my head. I know it's somewhere. It's not from Crank Yankers, and it's not from... It's got to be... It looks like a character, but of who? And then I finally did the research and went, oh, it's Angel. So I sat down and watched the episode a few weeks ago, because I know we were going to record this, and I read the book and everything. And I have to say that it's one of these that's good on paper, and I guess Angel, again, if you're going to see a sign that says don't in the don't room, he's going to do whatever he wants to anyway. But the bottom line is, I like the idea that you have these puppets that are disguise themselves as this children's show, and it's demons that are sucking the souls out of, or energy out of kids, and then if the adults get too close, they'll become the puppets. So I kind of like that idea. I did like the end, though, where he, emerges from the boxes and he goes, what the F, he didn't have to bleed it out. But it's an interesting internet meme. I do like the fact that he does look, I guess he's supposed to be a cross between Bert from Sesame Street because of the nose and the ears and the hair.
Yeah.
And, David Boreanaz. And I love the eyeballs, the pupils. They look like Pac-Man turned, on its side. So I was okay with all that. There was a lot of heavy-duty dialogue, but again, if you're not a huge fan of the show or the series, it's not going to do much for you. But if you're a fan of, supernatural what-ifs, where evil puppets take over, and I watched a lot of killer puppet movies in the 80s, I dug it.
Yeah. So issue 2 picks up a little bit after where issue 1 ends. We get the same creative team. We got 2 covers. One is a photo cover. The other is the regular cover where you see drawings and colorings of Puppet Angel and Real Angel side by side. Once again, I gotta go for the photo cover because I'm all about that homage to the actual show. So we pick up at Wolfram and Hart, and Angel's like, Fred, it's mystical.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the character. Again, if you're familiar with the character, it must be like, Ginny Melmitz. There's a ghost in here.
Yep. And the funny thing is, they actually, with Fred with her hair down, they actually get her character, she looks more like Amy Acker here than she did in the first one.
Yeah.
And they even get Wesley right this time around. He actually looks to me, he looks like Alexis Denisof now. So they all go to the office, and there's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's Puppet Angel sitting in the chair. Oh, it's just so cool.
Yeah, I love how Fred is just playing with the hair and he's telling her not to, and she'll be the
Fred, don't put the hands in the hair.
Yeah, and
That's
fired.
it.
Yeah.
You're fired. Yeah.
You see, that's a great internet meme also right there with Angel going, "You're fired."
Yeah.
Pretty much the rest of it is that he's just trying to get his crew together, and, he's like, I don't have puppet cancer, so I don't know what this is, which I love. That also should be a great meme right there. I don't have puppet cancer, folks. So he's trying to be serious as a puppet, and somehow, again, if you're a fan of the Muppets, and that was a great thing too, or anything with Jim Henson, humans were able to interact with puppets well. So it works, even in comic book form. Like, they're taking it seriously. They're not treating this like, I don't know if you ever saw the Nickelodeon shows Eureka's Castle. They're not treating it that way. So, yeah, Angel is pretty much trying to put together what he knows about the show and what the puppets are doing, and he's getting together, it's like, I want a helicopter, I want tear gas, and this is war.
Yeah. And the funniest thing in this reveal of him explaining to everybody what happened, and at the time they have the TV on in the background. Well, Smile Time comes on, and he's like, "It's Smile Time," and he's trying to get the remote to work so he can watch it, and stupid plastic piece of crap. So they're, like you said, they're going to record all this stuff. He's going to have, everybody do their job, and have, I think it's Wesley and Gunn go over to Frampkin's place. In the meantime, Nina shows back up. She's human again because her monthly werewolfing wore off, and Angel's hiding under his desk, and it's really, really awkward. It's even awkward in the actual show episode, in the episode of the show of their exchange. It just is. So after Nina leaves, we see, hey, big man, need another car. Afraid this last one ended up in the drink. Spike, look at you. Just turn around and walk away, Spike. You're a bloody puppet.
Oh, yeah.
And a fight ensues.
Yeah, this fight between how he calls Angel Kermit. I was thinking of this fight between man and puppet, and as I said, I've seen a lot of killer puppet movies in the 80s with Puppet Master and Terror Vision and Child's Play and Invaders from Mars. But then, of course, there was the Muppets Take Manhattan, where Animal's trying to grab, Danny Coleman by the ankles, and Danny Coleman is trying to get away, and he's like, it's almost like his pants are, down between his ankles, like just running away from the bathroom or something. I like to say that it's more than just, a guy tossing a puppet in the air and the actors, off camera giving the dialogue. It works in a comic. I can't, on a show it also kind of worked, but this is
It works better in the show. I don't think, there's a few lines here where it works in the beginning of the fight, but once they start improvising and calling him Charlie McCarthy and Kermit, when it does that, it just doesn't work for me. In the show, when Angel and Spike eventually end up in the elevator, you hear him call Spike stupid limey piece of crap.
Yeah.
And that's not here. And what I do like is the one line that is still here after the fight: Harmony, get my call list, and Spike needs a car. You are the puppet.
This feels a little bit Muppet-esque, but it's an interesting, it's not Child's Play, but still, it's...
No, I know, it's not Child's Play, but it's one of those things where I just think it works better in the show, the fight does, because the fight it's not as long, they extended it a few panels in this, and I guess they had to fill out pages or something. So, we got Lorne and Gunn over at Frampkin's, and Gunn is losing his legalese. He's losing his law stuff, and so that happens there. And we find out that these demon puppets are actually controlling Frampkin, and Frampkin is close to death, but not really dead. They figure out that Angel was the one that got into the don't room, and they got to find a way to, amp up their timetable and everything else, so they basically are to the point where they can just take, instead of focusing on individual kids in the LA area, they can take one giant piece of children's life force all at once, and they're going to basically steal all their demographic, which is really, really sick when you think about it.
Well, I always said in the business world, it's denominations, demographics, and distribution. So, without a shadow of a doubt, to me, this is brilliant of how they're going to steal away the demographics, because demographics for adult shows are usually 18 to 40, depending on, something like SpongeBob. That was supposed to be for kids, and somehow it ended up on MTV for a while, and I thought, okay, they're making it edgier? No, they made it the same. It's just that it was so popular with college students that the first 3 seasons were on MTV for a while. And even, there was H&R Puffin stuff. Even Sesame Street, college kids still like to watch it. They weren't ashamed for some reason. Muppet Show could be anybody.
Yeah.
But I feel that something like this, though, again, it's amazing what they're trying to say and how they're trying to make this edgy. However, as I said before, and we agreed on this with Greg the Bunny, I did finally watch that show in its entirety when it came out on DVD, and no, it has not aged well. They didn't get it. It was more pot humor than it was.
Yeah. So we do get the whole confrontation between Nina and Angel, and he shows her that he get turned into a puppet, and his nose comes off and all that.
Stupid plastic piece of crap!
Yeah, so it's this evil Chucky-esque character, and you can tell that, and that's what it looks like. That one.
Yeah, a little bit. That's what it is. It does look like that, just a little bit. So we get the scene with Nina and Angel, and she turns into a wolf, and this is where she basically tries to eat him. No, bad, Nina, bad. Like, okay, even though this is not in the actual TV episode, I love them ending on this for this second issue, because we never actually got to see her tear him apart. We didn't see her actually doing it. We see her growl and grab at him, and then he comes back with his stuffing ripped out. But that's one thing I do like about the little, the comic here, is that we actually get to see her full-on wolf transformation.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
I will never give my dogs another, chew toy that looks like a puppet again. I mean, I had a Three Stooges one, I had a Mr. Bill one. Every time they grabbed it, he would scream, "Oh no!" The one thing that I like about this is that there is kind of like an homage to Bert, where, Ernie would rip off Bert's nose. Angel does that. So I thought that was pretty cute.
Yep, absolutely. So the final issue, it has 2 covers as usual. It has a standard drawn cover of Angel and Spike with the rest of the cast, and it has the photo cover with Angel hugging Fred. Again, for me, I love the photo cover.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely love the photo cover. So we start this third issue off with Lorne finding Angel with his stuffing ripped out of him, and, Lorne's like, "Medic, you're gonna make it, Angel. Just don't stop fighting. Doctor, is there a Geppetto in the house?" Absolutely love that.
This is the only episode that can get away with these lines, and the best part is they're not shoving it down our throats. But yeah, I kind of thought it was kind of cheesy at first, but I was like, okay, I'm going with it.
I think he does say that in the actual episode. I could be wrong, though. We go to Gunn, who is back at the doctor and looking for something permanent, and this is going to cost Gunn something. He has to sign something, which eventually brings in Illyria later in the season. He basically signs his life away to get the legal stuff put into his brain permanently. We go to Wes, Fred, and Knox, and they're working on watching the show. And you can clearly tell Knox is a third wheel. Even though Wes and Fred are not an actual couple yet, you can really tell that Knox is the third wheel. I do, kind of like their whole interaction. I think it's done better in the show, though. They find out what the deal is with the Smile Time show, that it's, muted or whatever, that it's the head puppet just, sucking the life force out of kids. We see Angel trying to stitch himself up. Stupid fingers, stupid string.
Yeah, he's like, ow, 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 ow. Yeah.
and they get to a point where they're all ready to basically kick ass, and Angel's like, "Well then, let's take out some puppets," and we have the classic scene with the four of them, Gunn, Fred, and Wes in the back, and Angel with the sword on behind his neck. I love this shot. This shot from the show was actually Puppet Angel was my Facebook and Twitter image for the longest time.
Oh, it was, yeah.
I love this image. So we go over to Smile Time, and they're all ready to do everything, and we get to a point where they're about to do it, and head guy says, "No, after all, it's Smile Time." Angel's like, "No, it's not. It's time to kick your ass all the way back to hell." And is just amazing recreation of the TV version of this shot with him standing there on the little house with the sword held in one hand this time behind his back. It's just, oh god, I love the art in this book. It's so cool.
I love when he vamps out. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Puppet Vamp Angel was just awesome.
Yeah.
What's the line here? He says something. What does he say?
Puppet Angel?
Yeah, he says because.
He says, "I got a lot of demon in me, now come on."
Oh yeah. The evil puppet. "I'm gonna tear you a new puppet hole, bitch." "So, you got a little demon in you. I got a lot of demon in me.
Yeah.
Now come on." And oh man, that is just so awesome. They actually made a doll out of this.
I'm sure they did.
I've seen them. They're awesome. So we get the big fight. Everybody, Fred and Wes and everybody, they win. They say the spell to basically break the nest egg, and all the energy returns to the kids, and we return to a all the way naked Nina.
Yeah, what do puppets eat? Let's find out.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, he's gonna have some pie. But I don't remember her being naked or whatever when... Again, was she... Or...
No, in the show, she was not naked.
Right.
They never showed her naked in the show at all, in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
She, I think it was... I'll have to go back and do screen caps, but... I don't remember, but I know she was not naked. But, hey, they have to do something here in the comic.
And so they did, and they ended up on a dirty joke between these two. He's going to turn back human in a couple of days, and everything is, I guess, normal in the world.
I'm trying to think, if she was naked, it was just her back, like the camera showed her back, and she was getting ready to put on her robe, but it wasn't anything like what this image is of her.
No, it had to be like naked and clothed at the same time, if that makes any sense. I mean, it was basically
it does.
It was the CW or the WB or whatever that, whatever it is now.
So we end on them wanting to go to breakfast, and we pick up with Fred and Wes, and they kind of cement their relationship with a kiss, and that's where it ends. Overall, I enjoyed this. I thought it was a nice little read. It's a nice little adaptation. There are certain things in here that I think they had to use to extend the life of each comic issue because of a page count. But other than that, I mean, it just, I don't know. I did enjoy it.
I'm going to give this, for the, Geekcast Radio ratings, I'm going to give it a 3. I did like some of the line reads. I like the snarkiness, and I do like, Angel Puppet or, Angel Muppet, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you have these evil puppets, and I especially like when the evil puppets are in a boardroom trying to debate of how they're going to take over the world. So, this should have been, I mean, there were killer puppet movies, I said. I wish this would have been one of them. So, I want to give it higher, but the problem is I'm not a huge fan of Angel. I'd have to be a fan of everything that was both Buffy and Angel. And the thing was, as I said, there was a few good episodes, and Josh Whedon is brilliant, and I know that he's cares more about the craft than the almighty dollar. But sometimes I kind of wonder if he sabotaged himself on purpose because he realizes that the money's not worth it. And I don't know if that's why he did this episode, but all in all, it's, worth a read or a watch. I'm sure you can find this on Netflix on streaming or Hulu on streaming.
Yeah, Angel is on Netflix, streaming all 5 seasons. And you know what, honestly? There are a couple of crossover episodes between Buffy and Angel. You don't need to watch all of Buffy to understand Angel. You just don't. You start Angel with the very first episode, City of. You watch from there because they wanted to make it its own thing. The way I look at Buffy and Angel is it's essentially He-Man and She-Ra in reverse. And Buffy and Angel are not brother and sister, obviously, but the whole point of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and then She-Ra, Princess of Power, they wanted to give the girls in the 80s, a female heroine to look up to and whatever, and why not just make it, He-Man's twin sister? This is the same kind of thing, but you do not need to watch every single episode of Buffy to get and enjoy Angel.
I hope not.
No, you don't. Trust me. I've watched all of Angel's episodes, and the show plays very well without needing to watch all of Buffy. All right, folks. For me, I didn't give my rating. What'd you say? 3 out of 5? 2 out of 5? I don't remember.
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Me, I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. I do very much enjoy the comic, but there are too many liberties taken, adding stuff in that isn't supposed to be there, that wasn't there. And I understand why they had to do that, probably because of page count and everything else, but I did enjoy seeing the art form in the comic to see how they were going to translate the live action actors and the puppet into drawn and colored style. But I just can't give it any higher than 2.5. I mean, the certain things they added, certain things that aren't there from the episode, it just a little too jarring for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next here inside the Pull Bag for July, it is going to be Robin Hood Month. This is ROBYN Hood. This is from Xenoscope Entertainment, written by Patrick Shand. If you're not reading this series, you need to, right now. Just go read it right now.
Yeah, kids, stay away from that Kevin Costner and that Russell Crowe. This is the real Robin Hood.
Well, Kevin Costner was more real than Russell Crowe, but that's a discussion for another day. I mean, Russell Crowe essentially foobarred all over Robin Hood. All right, folks, make your great escape in the comics, and we will catch you next time.
After all, it's smile time.
No, it's not. It's time to kick your ass all the way back to hell.
You.
You've just heard the latest episode of the Pull Bag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you're leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.